Welcome to Boots on the Ground, the 15-minute briefing, your daily roundup on veterans housing, advocacy, and solutions. I'm Yvette Jones Swanson, Army veteran, National Veterans Housing Advocate, and CEO of VetMentors, LLC. For more than 20 years, I've been on the front lines, housing over 5,000 homeless veterans and pushing for real change. In just 15 minutes, we'll cover today's wins, setbacks, and opportunities, from housing solutions and government policy to partnerships, publications, and training. This isn't just a show, it's a movement. Together, we're turning challenges into victories for veterans and their families. Let's begin.
Well, clearly that was the wrong video because I go live twice today. And the second time I go live is for 15 minutes, and that's how my day wraps up. So I am just going to play you another video. And here's one. I really like this support video. Hey guys, I'm standing here with Anthony. He's a veteran from what branch?
Army.
We're both Army. Who? And Anthony is a veteran who has been coming to our seminar since January. Mm-hmm. What have you learned so far, Anthony?
I learned a lot about how mortgage, how to get a loan, how to look out for different things like fraud, like sometimes when you're looking for a house or you looking for rent, it's always to make sure your security as well. So it's little things you can look out for to secure yourself as a renter or homeowner. Also learn about buying a house, how you can get a loan from the military that you don't have to pay back.
You don't have to pay it back.
If you use the HUD VASH, the HUD, through the
I'm gonna put y'all over here so y'all can see the whole video as we do it live on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. I hope y'all can see that on TikTok. Studio manager, me. Okay, that's gonna have to do. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's. I do an hour once a week, and that is to inform you and to educate you on what I've been doing for the past 22 consecutive years, working with homeless veterans. And not just any veterans, but homeless veterans, getting homeless veterans into transitional housing, into rentals, into properties that they purchase with their VA home loan. So I've been doing that for 22 years. I started housing homeless veterans in through transition and permanent housing with HUD VASH and other SSVF funding. My name is Yvette Jones Swanson, and I am the National Veterans Homeless Housing Advocate and Consultant. And I've been housing homeless veterans for 22 years, housed over 5,000 homeless veterans, taught some great teams over the years how to do it. And it's a no-brainer for me. It's because it's a win-win-win opportunity to help a homeless veteran with the resources get housed, help a landlord start receiving cash flow in his or her rental unit, and the realtor gets paid for doing this. And if you are a housing provider or you want to become a housing provider, you want to become a housing provider for transitional housing, or you want to become a housing provider for a veteran who has a HUD VASH voucher, and I'm talking nationwide. My home base is Chicago, but I help veterans all across the country, and also consult and I've got several publications to teach entrepreneurs how to work effectively in this community, housing homeless veterans. If you have real estate that you'd like to get occupied with guaranteed rents and some amazing people. We are veterans. We are amazing. I'm an Army veteran and I am amazing. I was a homeless female veteran and nobody thought I was amazing. At the time, they just said, oh, she's a homeless veteran with issues. She's not amazing. And that's how veterans who are homeless are right now. In a lot of eyes of people, they're not amazing. You say thank you for your service because it's the newest cliche of 10 years or so. But you don't think those homeless veterans are amazing now, do you? You think those homeless veterans are lazy? They're drugged out. They're all alcoholics. They want to be homeless. And that's not the case. It's not the case at all. I was a homeless female veteran from 1987 through 1993 because I was married. And yes, I was a homeless female veteran. I was married to an actively serving, at the time, Marine. And he was very, very abusive. And I kept running away and never having any place to go except to the VA to let them know what's going on. But they never had any resources for me. Didn't nobody care. I wasn't amazing. I would go and try to rent an apartment with little to no money. I wasn't amazing. I didn't have enough money to rent an apartment. When I was discharged from the military, I was discharged with no benefits. So that didn't make me amazing. It made me a homeless female veteran who people look down upon because I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm disgruntled. You say something to me, you're going to get right back at you. Thank me for my service. You can't thank me for anything if you can't lend a helping hand. So I'm here today, 22 years of housing homeless veterans because I know how. I've housed over 5,000 homeless veterans and trained about 50 realtors how to do the same. Some of them are no longer doing it. A lot of them aren't doing it anymore. I don't even know if any of them are doing it anymore because this is a lot of work and it is a commitment. Well, you're taking a homeless veteran. You need to find out what resources they have, if they have any. And today we're going to be talking about I've written what I call an encyclopedia of veterans housing and resources guidebook series. So my series is called U.S. Military Veterans Educational and Resources Guidebook Series. And this is the book that we will be talking about today, Finding Home. As a concerned citizen, as an investor, as a realtor, as a social worker, case manager, human care professional, first responder, business owner. You have a business on a main street or in a neighborhood, and you have a homeless veteran to walk in to see you. And I tested this out myself with one of my business owners. He's an insurance broker. And I met him and he became the insurance broker for my office when I managed an office of leasing agents back in the day to house homeless veterans, but they also needed some type of insurance. They needed renter's insurance. They needed life insurance. They needed some type of insurance, car insurance. So I introduced them to this insurance agent, Charles Cathy, on 87th on 87th Street in Chicago. And he's still one of my preferred insurance agents. So back in the early 2000s, when was it early 2000s? It's been a long time. When I met him, and I'm like, hey, some of my renters need insurance, renters insurance, and because things happen when you are renting, and it is not the cause of, if it's not the cause of the owner, you know, they have their own insurance, but as a renter, you still need to protect your assets. Thank you for sharing light on this issue. My pleasure, Dixon Road. Let me put this up on the screen so people can see that. And I will answer some questions, but not now. The questions and answer, and if you want to stick around, it'll come a little bit towards the end. But I want to get this out. So if you all stick around and hear what I'm talking about, then wonderful. And then any questions you have, I will. So what inspired me to write? Hold on a second. What inspired you to write these guides right here, and all of these guides, all of these books to help people in the community house homeless veterans and start businesses housing homeless veterans? What inspired me to write this guide is to teach the communities, is to teach the nation, because nobody else has a guide series like this. People have a guide series. You want to learn how to what do we say? I got a lot of books here. You want to learn how to, I don't know, you want to learn anything. You have to read a book. You have to watch a video. And that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you the publications to read, because homeless veterans need some place to live transitionally. And business owners need to open these transitional housing for the homeless vets to be there. I'm a realtor, and you got me down this rabbit hole now, so I'm going to continue going, because that's where we are today. I'm a realtor, and I wrote this real estate blueprint for realtors to learn how to do what I do. I was a six-figure real estate agent housing homeless veterans for many years. And all I did was house homeless veterans from rentals through their home ownership. I wrote this book for social workers, case managers, human care professionals, first responders, because they let homeless veterans walk out the door homeless. And they need to learn how to put them someplace so that they won't walk out the door, like one of these facilities right here that'll be paid for by the government. And I'll show you where that money is too. This is the real estate guide, the veterans entrepreneur guide. If what somebody wants to open a facility that is like that would require a license, because I get a lot of women telling me, I'm a nurse, I'm a CNA, I'm a this, I'm a that. So you want to be licensed? Then this is the guide for you. For veterans, this is the blueprint to getting into business from what you passionate about. Like me, I'm passionate about housing homeless veterans. So get the books. Can local government? Yes, they can. This is national. Homeless veterans are everywhere across the nation, and my platform is national. My trainings are national too. I'm going to answer questions at the end, so please stick around. Thank you so much. If you guys have not liked this video and shared this video, and go to my link in my bio and order the book so you can learn. So all of these questions that you're asking me are in the publications. It's like your new Encyclopedia Britannica for the veterans community. Everything I do is for the veterans community. I wrote this book here. This is the 3rd edition to teach veterans how to use their VA home loan step by step, and to teach realtors how to conduct workshops in the community. And I am going back into the community to conduct these workshops. I wrote this book, and the 2nd edition is coming out to teach you how to write business proposal letters to introduce your business to the market. I'm also a federal contractor. I am a woman-owned small business service disabled, veteran-owned small business, and 14 certifications to prove what I do is real. Now, those certifications came at a heavy cost, of time, of dedication, working in the field. So what I'm talking about is really from boots on the ground, and that's my 515 podcast. So please be back for that. Can you talk about becoming a veteran shared house? No, I'm not talking about that this morning. What you can do, because that is on other podcasts. You can go and order the book so you can read about it, and then you can become a veteran shared housing provider, and then you can join my private group and we talk about it more there. All right, so the biggest barriers facing veterans is credit, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So I'm going to turn off the comments. Y'all can ask whatever you want to ask, and I'll come back at the end and answer those questions, because it really throws me off track. So we're going to talk about how can you help this vulnerable community of homeless veterans, how you can help. And that's why we're here. So a lot of these questions are in my books. You want to know how to solve the Pythagorean theory? You're going to read a book and you're going to study that. You want to learn how to become a plumber or a doctor? You're going to read some books and you're going to study those books. Well, these are the books that you need to buy and study and answer all those questions that you have over here on YouTube. Okay, so this morning we are talking about finding home. This is a nationwide resource guide for supporting homeless veterans. For those of you who say, I want to house homeless veterans, how can governments adopt these strategies to house homeless veterans? What's the biggest barriers that face veterans seeking housing? All of that information is lined up in these books, all of that. So let's talk about finding home. I wrote Finding Home because as a female veteran, and I also designed this image using AI. I told AI what I wanted to see on this picture. And this is what I wanted to see. This is me. I was a homeless female veteran. I don't know if you all can see this picture up here, but I was a homeless female veteran and I had nowhere to go. And this picture is indicative for today because we have homeless veterans who still come home in uniform. If not in uniform, they're still veterans and can't even fit in the tiny houses or in any houses in that whole community. Why is that? People ask, why are there homeless veterans? My sister asked me that years ago. She said, Yvette, I don't understand why there are homeless veterans when they went to the military. Don't they have money? Well, veterans have to apply for benefits when we are discharged. Some have benefits when they're discharged, the ones who retire. But if we get out of the military with no benefits, then we have to go to the VA, the regional office. We have to sit down with the VSO, and we have to submit paperwork and talk about our disabilities on paper so that can be submitted so that they can see if we even qualify for the benefits that we are applying for. Like the service connection disability, that gives a veteran a check every month. That check could be housing. It could be not housing. If a veteran only has 10%, think about it. 10% of 100 is a very low number, even when you're talking about veterans' finances, veteran benefits. So a veteran who is a 10% service-connected veteran, they have not enough money to rent any place. I think that check is still maybe over $200 now. 30%, 60, 70%, you still don't have enough money to rent. It's not enough money. So 90%, yeah, you got little something. Not really though. because rent is very expensive. 100% service-connected disabled veteran, yeah, then you'll have some money. Yes, they are. Yeah. Just get all the books and read all the stories in the books. So now a veteran with 100% service connection, then they'll have enough money. Then they'll come to this workshop, the Veterans Housing and Home Buying Workshop, to learn how to use their VA loan. If they don't have enough resources, then they can go to the nearest medical center, VA medical center, to apply for, see if they qualify for a HUD-VASH voucher. That's the Section 8 voucher for homeless veterans and their families. If they don't qualify for that, then that veteran is homeless, because now they have nothing unless the social worker knows by reading this book, Collaborative Housing Solutions for Homeless Veterans, for social workers, case managers, human care professionals, helping veterans transition from homelessness to stable housing. This is a program guide. I wrote this book because I trained the social workers. These are letters from the social workers in the book. So you want to see success stories. These are letters in the books that you can read from agencies, from the VA, from the social workers that I trained, because social workers, they went to school to do what? Social work. What's social work? Well, it could be anything. And in this case, their social work was to house homeless veterans. Now, if they didn't know how to house themselves, because some of the social workers who I trained had just graduated from college and moved back home with mom and daddy. What? They don't know how an application even looks. They don't know that because they've never had to complete one. So I had to train them on how to identify housing. In addition to bringing housing to the VA, I brought programs to the VA that the veterans needed to pay their light bill, their gas bill, because if you're renting somebody's apartment and you receive the HUD-VASH voucher, then you may still be responsible for utilities. But in this case, some of the veterans didn't have good credit to get utilities turned on in their name, or they had bad credit, or they had utility bills that they had never paid. Get the books, attorney firm. This will teach you in the books. Everything will teach you in the books how AI helps, because I do teach people how to use AI. It's quicker. I send resources to veterans all across the country, including Hawaii. That's how AI has enhanced what I can do nationwide, and I'm teaching you how to do it. But you got to invest in yourself and get the books. You're an attorney. You had to read a lot of books to get to where you are. So read these books to learn if you're really serious about working or helping in this homeless veterans community. Everything is in a book. This is new to you, so it's new to everybody. I've never shared how I house homeless veterans publicly. I tried to do it. I wrote a class for the board. The class was a Core B, legal issues for housing choice voucher, AKA Section 8. And I wrote that class and I taught that class for about maybe 2.5 years to realtors in the Chicagoland area. But it was a lot of pushback because people don't understand a voucher. People don't understand, or some people really are perturbed with people having vouchers. And we're talking about poor people with vouchers. And I understand this new law that the amendment bill was just passed. You can only be on the system for 2 years, and then you're off the system. But you have to have a job by then to pay that $1,700, $1,800, $1,900 a month rent. What are you going to do with yourself in 2 years to afford you the opportunity to make that type of money, to pay rent, then to pay child care, to buy food, to take care of your kids, to do all of that? I don't know. but there's enough money in our homeless veterans community to go around to pay the rent for these homeless veterans everywhere. There is and you can buy my publications. You can get invited to my private groups, because this is just public. You can get invited to my private groups to learn more. So the VA announced in Washington, D.C., the Department of Veteran Affairs today on August 27th, announced $818 million in grants to 235 organizations across the country to help veterans who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. These VA awards grants based on a number of factors, including the grant recipient's experience and past performance in providing supportive services to veteran families, and the need in the area of community where the program will be based. Throughout the fiscal year of 2026, the grants will fund organizations as they help veterans access housing and housing counseling, healthcare, financial planning services, childcare, legal assistance, and transportation. This came out August 27th. So there's money in this community. And as a realtor, I have made a lot of it, just housing homeless veterans. To go to the link in my bio and order your guides, because these questions that you're asking me are all answered in a book. So take yourself to class. This is a public forum that I'm going over, and we're going to talk about the things I do in the community. You really want to learn. You want your questions answered, then go get a book, and then you can join my private groups to dig deeper. Thank you very much. So again, my name is Yvette Jones Swanson. I am the National Veterans Homeless Housing Advocate and Consultant. I am certified with the SBA, and my company VetMentors is also verified by the VA. I hold 14. So I'm gonna put a list up here or over here of all of my certifications. I don't do this for play. This is real life of 22 years. I'm a realtor housing homeless veterans, and I get paid to do it because think about this. When you move a person, where do they go? They go in somebody's house. They go in somebody's apartment. They go in somebody's condo. They go in somebody's trailer. They go in somebody's place where there's a PIN number. Somebody is paying taxes on that property. Somebody has the upkeep of that property. Somebody wants to get paid for a stranger, a new tenant living in their property, right? So as a realtor, we procure contracts. Somebody has to sign a lease. That would be the landlord and the tenants. Somebody has to pay that rent for that homeless veteran to go live there. Who's paying that rent? Who's paying the rent? It doesn't matter. But the rent is going to get paid by an agency through the VA, or an agency that received the $818 million, and other agencies and other pools of money from the federal government, from the state, from your local government, from these social service agencies, from these philanthropists. Somebody is going to pay the rent. As a realtor, I made sure the lease was done. I made sure all the disclosures are taken care of. I make sure the tenant gets the keys, and we make sure the unit is just the way it was when we first said yes. The tenant moves in, money is exchanged, or it's coming, and I send an invoice as a realtor from Real People Realty, and I get a commission check. Month after month. I remember once I was at the VA doing workshops. I housed 22 veterans in one day, and not even 8 hours, in 4 hours that I was down there. 22 homeless veterans. That's 22 commission checks. Because homeless veterans get resources. So let's talk about, okay, let me slow down, because I know I take people real fast when I talk about this homeless veterans community. And I appreciate all of you for being here. I really, really do. Because you're giving me an opportunity to share information that I've never shared before. It's just like, you know how you're a seamstress and you can make the baddest outfit, and you never showed anybody your techniques because you don't have time. You know, you're making the baddest outfits. You've got clients flying in from Milan, from Paris, from Africa, from Europe, from Asia. You know, you got people flying in, so you don't have time to sit down. You don't have time to sit down and create the plan for everybody to follow. Well, that was me. 22 years, I didn't have time to sit down and put my intellectual property of how I've been able to house the hardest to house. I'm talking about veterans, and somebody asked about a story. Veterans who were in a U-Haul facility, and I moved him to a downtown Chicago condo. This is public information if you want to go on Main Street Realtors and pull up my name and read the story yourself. This gentleman here lived in a U-Haul facility for almost a year. And get this, in a wheelchair. I housed him after the social workers, and not to bash them at all. No. That's why I wrote the training for social workers. Where is my book? I'm moving stuff so fast. Anyway, I'm reading out of it. Silly me. So this is the book that trains. It's a program guide for social workers, case managers, human care professionals to be able to move homeless veterans from U-Haul facilities to downtown condos where HUD Vash is paying the rent. His rent in this condo is $3,000. How much was my commission as a realtor? $3,000. Yes, I said it right. There's another veteran who was homeless 2 times, a 75-year-old homeless veteran, 3 tours of duty, 2 Bronze Stars, exemplary work, retired. She had a retirement pension. She had a 100% service connection disability pay. She had Social Security, and she had excellent credit. But because she was a homeless, and I'm going to let the word stay right there, nobody wanted to touch her. Nobody. I housed her 2 times out of homelessness because the Jesse Brown VA allowed her to walk out the door homeless 2 times. And I'm so glad she called me because I housed her 2 different pictures. I housed her 2 different times. The first time there was an incident where she had an episode. My husband and I met with her at the apartment. I called 988. The ambulance came and took her to the nearest hospital, where she was transferred a few days later to a mental institution for 22 days in a straitjacket, was released from that, discharged from that hospital, went to Jesse Brown VA. She said they did a flushing out, and all green stuff started coming out because the mental institution had her drugged up with all types of garbage. So when I got to her, she was homeless the second time, because the VA released her discharged her from the hospital, homeless. And I'm so glad she called me. She said, Yvette, I didn't know if I was to call you again, but I need some place to live. I said, don't worry, I got you. I teach people how to house homeless veterans. in any situation. Any situation. I've housed homeless veterans who lived in vacant houses with their 10 children, husband and wife. I've housed homeless veterans like Mr. Wilson who lived in a U-Haul facility. I housed a homeless veteran. He's so funny. I housed the homeless veteran right here. He's in this book. You want to know stories? They're in all the books. I love sharing my veterans. This is my family. This my buddy right here, Bonnie Neats. He used to live in Grant Park. In the park. In Grant Park. I said, Mr. Neats, you can't live in Grant Park. He said, Miss Jones, it's a lot of places to sleep in Grant Park. You just don't know. So whenever I go to Grant Park, I'm looking at, okay, if I was homeless again, where could I sleep? Where could I pitch a tent? Or where could I put a sleeping bag and not be noticed? I'm seeing so many places. And I housed Mr. Neats several times. And he wanted to move up in life to buy a house. But unfortunately, he didn't get that opportunity. He passed away in a beautiful 3-bedroom, huge, big boy apartment. Big boy apartment by one of my investors who is also, he's Air Force and she's also Air Force, one of my investors. When I housed Mr. Neats, I sent an invoice and received a check as a realtor commission check. And she had a tenant who had resources to pay his rent every single month, like clockwork. Great show. Hope this reaches every veteran who will share it. Share it everywhere. Thank you for empowering veterans with real stories. What's the most surprising thing you learned writing these books? Nothing. You know what? Everything in these books is what I lived. But I didn't know how emotional I would get writing these books. I cried in the pages of this book. I cried in 2 chapters in A Guide to Veteran Shared Housing Models. I cried. And the reason I cried is because I was a homeless female veteran. And the tools that I learned over the years in order to allow me the opportunity to write this series, it was very emotional. But the tools I learned over the 22 years of actively serving in the homeless veterans community, these are tools. All of these are tools in the books that I needed as a homeless female veteran. So I'm sharing all the tools with the nation. The tools that will move veterans from being homeless to greatness. When you can say, thank you for your service, and they're stepping out of an Escalade truck. They're putting their keys or pushing the numbers on the door to their own multi-unit property or their own single family home with the yard and a picket fence. Now, when you say thank you for your service, they have something to be proud of. But when you say thank you for your service to a homeless veteran, you're not saying, and I want to keep the West Side in because I am a professional. I've got a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, an associate's degree, a high school diploma from a private high school, Catholic high school, a grammar school diploma from a private Catholic grammar school, 14 certifications with the federal, the state, and the local governments to say that, hey, Vet's business, VetMentors is good. She knows what she's doing. But working in this homeless veterans community with some of you out there, it makes me want to go back to my upbringing in public housing, where my whole family, until the age of 24, when I was out in a horrible marriage with an abuser, I was raised in public housing. in public housing. So I know what it's like not to have anything. And then go to the Army and go to college because my parents said, you're either going to go to the military or you're going to go to college. Well, I'm looking at my sisters who all went to college. My sister is a doctor. I've got another sister who wrote her whatever paper for a PhD, but decided not to finish. I don't know why, but it's hers. I've got another sister who's working on her PhD right now. My younger sister, my older sister is the master's degree right now. All of my sisters have college degrees, including me, from public housing. My brothers all went to the military, all of them. So I'm looking at, okay, my sister's over here complaining about student loans. I don't want to get out of college and have student loans. I'm looking at the military. They're like, hey, we got some money for you. You come to the Army. We're going to give you a $2,000 bonus. We're going to pay you, and we're going to pay for you to go to school too. I'm like, I got the best of both worlds. I enrolled in college and I enlisted in the military. I have no student loans because of the military wiping them out, because it was up to $130,000, but the military wiped it out when I became service-connected disabled veteran. I got the best of both worlds. I walked the walk as a homeless veteran, and I could put my key into, I don't even want to tell you how much my husband paid for this house for us. But it just gives me great joy. I love what I do. I don't see myself doing anything different other, in encouraging you all to learn to do what I do. And that's why I poured all of that information into this educational book series. This is your new encyclopedia. Get all of them. Get the realtor's blueprints. Find out what realtors should be doing in the community. If you're a realtor, find out what you can do in the community and get paid. Chicago Veterans book is coming out because we have so many resources, and I'm in Chicago and I'm like, oh my God, I got to share this with all the veterans in Chicago. So I'm looking for a major sponsor because I want to give out with the major sponsor's name on the front and all throughout the book, at least 5,000 to 10,000 of these books. So veterans here in Chicago can know what their resources are, can tell another veteran that give these books out for free once I get a major sponsor or major donor. From veterans from boots to business, this is what I did. I went from boots to business now. My business VetMentors is certified SBA and verified VA. I'm on sam.gov. Veteran Care Entrepreneurship Guide. You want to house veterans, you want to service them in a licensed facility, then get this book and learn how. Finding Home, and we still got to talk about Finding Home. I'm just going to sit this right here because I'll talk about this for the last 10 minutes of the show. TikTok, y'all can stay on. I'm not going to leave TikTok at any time. And then innovative housing solutions for homeless veterans. You say you want to house homeless veterans and you want to put them in a shared housing and you want to get paid by the government to do it, then get the book and read it. That's why I have all these books. All of these questions that you're asking me can be found between the pages of my books. And then collaborative housing solutions for homeless veterans, for case managers, social workers, first responders, helping veterans transition from homelessness to stable housing. And this is a program guide. And any of these books, guys, you want to hire me to come and teach your staff, I can. I am a licensed educator through real estate. And I'm also a corporate trainer by education. Thank you very much. Thank you all for watching. Over here on YouTube, if you have not clicked to like and subscribe, please do. If you want to contact me, you first got to read, because I don't do any consultations with nobody. Unless you say that I'm sending you a check, then we can talk. But if you want me to tell you what's in this book, I'm not going to do that. You just paid me to say hi. So learn something before you call me. So let's talk about Finding Home. And I want to thank you all for being here. My name is Yvette Jones Swanson, and I am the National Veterans Homeless Housing Advocate and Consultant. There is no other. I do have a certificate for realtors who want to learn, and I will be teaching this in the community. And realtors can receive credits for this, for taking the class through the board. Any board, I can be hired to teach at any board. This book and this class was approved by the IDFPR. So realtors who take the course will receive this certificate that you have successfully taken the course, and then go in the community and do what you learned. Contact me as a consultant or a co-op agent. Thank you. So, Finding Home, a nationwide resource guide for supporting homeless veterans. I love going to page 73 in this publication, because on page 73, resources were sent to a homeless veteran in Hawaii. Can y'all see that? When you get the book, you can read everything. So this homeless veteran in Hawaii contacted me because she was homeless. I'm like, if there's any place to be homeless, I would want to be homeless in Hawaii. But no, homeless is homeless. Even in beautiful Hawaii. Look how beautiful Hawaii is. But she didn't want to be homeless, sleeping in her car. Who does that? She didn't want to be homeless. She didn't have 100% service connected. She felt that she wasn't disabled. Now, disabled, according to our federal benefits guidebook, and you can go get the book and read it yourself. You can go on va.gov, hey there, and read it yourself. I'm not going to go through all the conditions of disabilities that veterans can face. So PTSD, that's an unseen disability. Depression, high anxiety, stress, those are unseen disabilities unless you have outbreaks and people say, oh, then they're going to call you, you got PTSD. That's the disability. So she thought, she didn't have any because her limbs were all intact and, but just talking to her on the phone, I could tell, yeah, you got something going on. So I sent her these resources and she said, Yvette, there's a resource on here that I was in touch with last year. I applied for an apartment and I never heard back. Well, when she called that apartment complex, they told her, we've been trying to contact you. You were approved for an apartment and you're still approved for an apartment because this is a project-based. So when she moves into that unit, she's only paying the 30% of her income. In Hawaii. So no matter where you are in this country, you can learn to do what I do. And I'm right here in Chicago. I'm housing people in Hawaii. I housed a young man, helped him. Well, I'm not going to say I housed him. I orchestrated. I sent him the information and he had to contact the resources that I sent him. And these are the resources in the book. And he contacted the resources and the resource contacted him back and told him, you are approved. He was a single dad she looked like a 2-year-old. She might have been 2 or 3, sitting on his lap and her. Oh my God. Mm. I'm trying to not cry. I'm trying to finish. Is what I'm trying to do. being homeless is hard work. It's very hard. And I can sit here and I can be strong for the homeless veterans. But it still weakens me because I remember what it's like being a homeless veteran without resources and not having any place to go. And homeless veterans don't want to be like that. We fought for this country. I was raped for this country, literally, by my drill sergeant. I came back home homeless for this country. And we have homeless veterans who don't want to be that way. So somebody on YouTube asked me what inspired me to write these books. It's to teach you. It's to teach the community how to help our homeless veterans. I spoke to a gentleman yesterday. He called me. I got so excited. We finally have a 4-bedroom for our homeless veteran and his family who is needing to move because now they had to pack up and they're in a minivan. Then he told me, I got a new message that brightened my day. He said, we're going to my dad's house now in Indiana. He said, you can share this video if you want to, Yvette. I think I have it to share. But the reason I wrote these publications is so you can learn to do what I do. It's no secret. I'm not gatekeeping. So all of the questions that you're asking me, just start going to get the books and reading the books so you can learn. That's it. I can't tell you everything that's in my head. You're asking me one question or what's the biggest roadblock. It's all a roadblock. They're homeless. It's connecting them to the resources. And then once they get the resources, there's another roadblock because the realtors are out here and the property management companies who just told me yesterday that, oh yeah, we have a 2-bedroom that fits in her 2-bedroom voucher amount. But she still has to do a credit check and her credit has to be at least 675 score. And she has to do the criminal background check. And I'm already like, you know what? And it's going to cost her and her caregiver to pay for that background check and credit check where they're already denied. Why even pay for a credit check and background check if she has a 450 credit score because she's been doing credit checks all over Virginia, Charlottesville, pulling her credit down, paying and getting denied. That's what our homeless veterans are going through. They have vouchers in hand. They have resources to pay for their rent. And everybody is putting a stumbling block in front of them. We need reform, and that's why I'm writing the congressmen. I write congressional letters to Congress. Hold on, let me get them out. The next letters are going out to Senator and veteran Tammy Duckworth for a veteran right here in Illinois, him and his family. Going out to a local senator, Laura Ellman, Senator Richard Dick Durbin, Representative Yang out of Naperville. And that's just for Chicago for one veteran. And then let's jump over, and I didn't even finish. Let's jump over to Lynchburg, Virginia, where we have a homeless senior female veteran with a 2-bedroom voucher, tours of duty, on disability, and she's living in a tent with a voucher. And the management company is saying, yeah, we have a 2-bedroom that fits her voucher amount, but her credit scores have to be at least 675. And excellent everything. We need reform. Our veterans should not be put in the same pool of civilians who can afford the rent based on their 3 times the amount of income and have a 675 credit score with excellent rental history. We have homeless veterans who are excluded from that because they don't have that. But they have vouchers that'll pay the rent. They have part of this $818 million from these 235 social service agencies that are called SSVF to pay their rent. But we have roadblocks, which is keeping the veterans out the door because they don't qualify based on credit and background. How do you measure the success? Girl, go get the books and read the books. That's how you can measure the success. You can do what I do and you can measure your success when you do it. If I tell you I help veterans move from Hawaii, in Las Vegas, Nevada, Florence, South Carolina, Akron, Ohio, Chicago, Vicksburg, Mississippi, that's the success of using AI. That's it. Read the books. Read the books. You want to learn something? Get all the books and read the books. And this isn't even all of them. If you know what an encyclopedia is, that's what I'm creating for the veterans community. How much time do we have? We've got 4 minutes. All right, let me come back. Let me look on TikTok. Let me look on TikTok. Hey, it's okay. Yeah, no, it's not. No, it's not until we get this right. And I hope that you send the link and go to my bio. I've sent you links though too, but go to my bio. All the links are there, Air Force. I just wanted to say good morning. Thank you. Amen, somebody. Thank y'all over here on TikTok. Thank you so much for following. Tap that, and go to my bio and get those publications. Because what I do is I write. And, it's because some people ask me, what's this and what's that? And I'm going to send you right back to my books. You want to learn something, go get a book. You want to learn how to do anything, you're going to read. So read a book. Read a book. Read a book. Read a book. Support my mission and get on board. Get the books and read a book. Join my private groups and start doing what I do. Boots on the ground. There's no secret. There's no secret. Any question you have is in the pages of any of these books. And I tell people all the time, this is your guide, right? Hold on. This was one class that I took with the federal government, with the VA actionable Office of Small Business Development Utilization. This was one class for me. Okay, so now you want to say you want to learn something and you want to ask me a question, I'm going to point you right back to a book, just like the VA points me right back to go learn. So one thing you will learn, if you follow me and you stick around, you'll learn that Yvette does not play around when it comes to housing homeless veterans. And if you are a true follower, you want to do what I do, then go learn what I know and read a book. I'll pick up the books and the course. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How do you, okay, let me go over here on YouTube. Let me see this. I'll pick up books and the cause. Wonderful. Thank you. Hallelujah. How do you measure the success? Get the books. Get the books and you measure your success by you doing the work. Great show. Hope it reaches veterans who, okay, it's not just veterans who need it, it's the community who can use it as well too. Because this isn't just for veterans. If we want to move veterans, then the community has to get involved. If you are an investor and you want to buy real estate, call me before you do, because I could be your realtor or I could refer you to a realtor in your area. and you can create transitional housing models, but you got to read, because please do not call me. Do not call me. First of all, I don't even answer my phone. Don't email me a question that can be found in a book. Just ask me, Yvette, which book can I find this in? And I'll tell you. Because we're not going to get into a non-paid consultation when you can pick up a book and read. Thank you for empowering veterans with real solutions and the community. Can this system work in rural? I love rural areas, and thank you for coming back, Clayton Jr. Yes, it can. I have a veteran in Mississippi. Oh, he's got a rural area that we're building on. We're building on, because you have to have resources for veterans to get. So we're building on all of that. So first, it's going to be like a nature reserve for veterans to come out and get this nature walk and get all of this love from the nature, and giving them, how does the landscape look? What is going to look like when I actually live here when he builds the housing? Okay, that's one. And then what resources can we bring there? What can we train the people in his rural area to do? And that's all in my publications. Thanks for that question. What's one thing policymakers should prioritize right now? I wrote that down yesterday, and I write these in my, I'll read you one of the letters. Hold on. I'll tell you exactly what they should prioritize. This is for a veteran here in Chicago. And I told these politicians what they should prioritize here in Chicago is 2 solution leaders can implement, starting now, because you got to write the letters and put it in. I don't know. I got to research, how do you actually write a bill? I want to know, because I want to do that. Emergency reentry policy. Allow veterans who have previously received support to reapply when facing essential utility loss and or eviction. And right now they have utility loss of 6 months, but the organizations are saying you don't qualify because we gave you money once before when you were down and out. He is a new homeowner. Things are going to happen. A father with grown children, a special needs son, a wife who stays home to care for the family. He's the only breadwinner. Things happen in the family dynamic. And one time is not enough. When there's $818 million in the community, last year through all the budgets, it was $3.8 billion. This year is $4.2 billion. Why only give a one-time solution when a veteran needs help? Why not 2? Why not 3? Why not whenever they need help? It's enough money to go around. That's one solution. The second solution, Universal Emergency Veteran Relief Fund. Create a rapid response fund for all veterans in crises, regardless of injury status, income bracket, or county of residence, because there are organizations that receive this funding from the government that say this is who we're going to give this money to. But they don't have to they could add these 2 in those in whatever, however they got approved to say what they're going to do for the veterans in their community. They can add this in there. They can add an emergency relief if the veteran falls in this criteria. You have no water for 6 months. Yes, we can help you because it falls into our emergency criteria fund. Thank you for that. How does technology speed up the process? Easy, very easy. All of these housing resources I sent across the country came through AI, and I created a bot, a BOT, that I can send a veteran to use. It's still in beta mode. It's still kind of wonky. So I do it myself until I find somebody more technology, no more technical savvy than I am, but it does work. Thank you for that question. And are there success stories from veterans who used your guides? Yes, they're all in the books. You can read them. How can viewers get involved in supporting this message? Sharing the message and buying the books and learning to do this in your community, boots on the ground, and come back at 5:15 to watch my boots on the ground. What did I do today? I'm going to share that with y'all at 5:15 Central. What's the biggest barriers veterans face when seeking housing? Oh, the credit check, the background check, people not understanding you're a homeless veteran. First of all, you got the cooties. We don't want to touch you. You have nothing. That's a barrier. People's mental state on how they think and feel about a homeless veteran. You want to say thank you for your service? You know, I really want to go west side on y'all. I really do. And some of y'all don't even know what that means, but it means from the low end, from the ghetto. I want to go west side, but I can't. One day I will. But you can probably feel it in my tone. And this is how I am when I get a, you know, this is, I got to take care of these veterans. And if you're serious about homeless veterans and taking care of homeless veterans, then you're going to read and you're going to learn how to do just that. Because it's not just about coming on here talking about, ooh, hi, who, you know, no, this is serious business. We're housing human beings. People care more for their dogs and cats and other animals than they do homeless veterans. I hear that all the time. When all you got to do is buy a book, go to Amazon, go to my sites, go buy a book and learn so you can take care of a homeless veteran. Make that your success story. Can you talk about a veteran shared housing provider, please? Can you go buy the book? Here's the book right here, Veteran Shared Housing. Go buy the book and then you be that provider. Thank you. Can local governments, yes, they can. Can local governments adapt these strategies easily? Yes. And I can come and train local governments. They can pay me as a contractor. How does AI specifically help house homeless challenges? That's in this book right here. That's in this book. Innovative Housing Solutions for Homeless Veterans, Social Workers, Case Managers, Helping Veterans Transition from Homelessness to Stable Housing. And all of my books have these long titles because I want you to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. The book, Finding Home, a nationwide resource guide for supporting homeless veterans. For you, attorney, you need to get these two books. And if you want to invest in the housing, then get this book too, so you can invest in the housing and do the housing for the veterans in your community. What inspired you to write the guides for veterans? Because our veteran community needs to know how to actually support our homeless veterans. So my name is Yvette Jones Swanson. If you haven't liked, clicked, and shared my podcast live, please do so at the time and go to my bio and start buying these publications. Buy the publication so you can learn to do what I do. Yay! And then we don't have to have homeless veterans. We don't have to say, oh, we shouldn't have homeless veterans. Well, now you've got the blueprint right here to help solve that problem. That's it. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching. And I'll see y'all again next week. So go ahead. Go ahead and pick up Finding Home so you can help a homeless veteran in your town. Thank you. Let me play a media asset for you. What am I going to play? I could just let it loop. How does that work?
A lot of realtors are walking this way, and I'm just going to ask if they know how to house homeless veterans. Do you know how to house homeless veterans?
No.
No.
Okay.
I sadly do not. I do not, but I would love to learn.
I do not. I do not, but I would like to know how. The answer to that is no.
No. Do you know how to house homeless veterans?
I do not.
I do not.
Do you know how to house a homeless veteran?
He's a veteran and he would be
Come
homeless
here.
if I did not house.
Oh, look at that.
We're here at the Capitol, Illinois State Capitol. This is the lobby day for realtors. And I did make an announcement on the bus about my 3-hour course that I wrote to teach realtors how to work effectively with a homeless veteran. Just because the veteran is homeless doesn't mean they don't have resources to use to get housed or to get anything else they need, because they do. But how do you get to those resources to help that homeless veteran get housed? I've got the class and it'll be out soon. A lot of realtors are walking this way, and I'm just going to ask if they know how to house homeless veterans. Do you know how to house homeless veterans?
No.
No.
Okay.
I sadly do not.
Across America, too many of our heroes return home only to face another battle, the fight for stable housing. Veterans are overrepresented in the homeless population, often caught in a system that is complex, slow, and full of barriers. At VetMentors, we're changing that narrative. For over 20 years, we've been boots on the ground, not just identifying the problem, but building real solutions. That's why we created the U.S. Military Veterans Educational and Resource Guide book series, a groundbreaking collection designed to educate, equip, and empower. These guidebooks are written not only for veterans, but also for the communities, organizations, and leaders who serve them. From step-by-step housing models to funding strategies, this series gives social workers, case managers, realtors, and first responders the tools they need to act with speed, dignity, and impact. VetMentors believes housing is not charity. It's a mission, a responsibility, and a pathway to restoring honor. Every guidebook in this series is a resource designed to make sure no veteran is left behind, and no community has to say, "We didn't know how to help." This is how we turn challenges into victories. I'm Yvette Jones Swanson, Army veteran, CEO of VetMentors LLC, and I invite you to join us in rewriting the story for America's veterans.